So once you have all of these links correctly, you can double click in them to verify. Your selling price for this, or your bid price, is going to be equal to the sum of these. And whether you choose to use the sum function from the buttons up here or type it like I just did, doesn't really make a difference. So you can see how the direct work is $105,000. We had $25,000 to it just in overhead and profit. We're adding. You can look at the contingency price here, and we're adding quite a bit in contingency. Now, is this this total here, is this correct?
What do you mean by correct?
I mean, the way we've programmed it, the math is working in the Excel, but we have $96,000 here, right, is our total. That's a fair statement. So with this here, we have $16,000 in contingency. Well, $96,000 plus $16,000 isn't really.
Oh, you added the whole line. I thought the 9,600 was the total. That's only the 10%.
That's only 10% of $9,600, right?
That whole line, that whole row.
Right. So we have contingency built in on material, labor, We have a contingency on the project total, if you want to do it that way. So this extra contingency here, the way you would have to do this, if you're going to do contingency on the individual project components, you probably would not do contingency on the project as a whole. You could put on 10% on all of these. So if you take this cell out, the formula for your total cost should be the total of your totals with contingency. You want to make sure you're grabbing the contingency from your other components. If that makes sense. So now we have $96,000 here. We can put our total contingency, I guess we could put that here. So we have $7,000 in contingencies. We take $96,000 here, and we add $7,000 to it, we get $103,000. See how that works? So when you're going through and developing an Excel estimate, don't fall into the trap of just dragging things across and adding them. And I know we're going through now and constructing it kind of together, but if you're ever modifying anything in these tabs or working on developing a spreadsheet for other uses, right? You may develop an Excel estimate tab, not really an estimate tab, but you might take in your Division 3 and you might put over here a rebar calculator that takes your number of yards and calculates your length of rebar, and you put in the size of rebar and it calculates your tons, right? So when you're doing your formulas, you want to make sure that you're actually getting the formulas correct and not just blindly copying numbers across. Does that make sense? Good. Nobody caught that as I did it. Interesting. It's hard to follow on the board. So if we go in here we'll do some just quick formatting. So I'll put in, I think if you underline these, and again, you can Control U is the hotkey for underline, or you could go up here and click the underline button. It makes those look like a math formula, right? You may want to bold that. That's your selling price. We've got kind of 3 sections going on here. So you do some outlining, border, maybe this section here, outlined, right? Then if you have a color scheme you're going for when you're doing your estimate, maybe you fill this in so you know that you're not supposed to enter any numbers in that area. That makes sense? Otherwise it looks like there's a lot of blank spaces here, and it just makes it easier to track. And you can, however you can follow this.
How did you select all of that without, again, get rid of it?
It's a good question. So what I did was when I was selecting multiple areas that weren't contiguous, so if I want to select these cells here and these cells here, if you select these cells, push the Control button, then you can select more. No, you got to hold it down when you're selecting. Yep. And Control allows you to multi-select like this. You could block out, if you wanted to, you can block out, cells, whatever, that don't have numbers that you need to enter, so you know what's going on. You could highlight things. So these are contingencies here. Maybe you make these like a really light green or something like that, cells that you need to change, because this whole section up here links. You don't need to change that. So really the only things that you need to update on this sheet once you have it are your contingency percentages and your numbers down here. So you can highlight this to make it easier for you to follow that way, and then you may be able to clean up so you don't have colors all over the place. However you want to neaten this up so that you can visually see it, you can customize it using Excel. These are headings, so maybe make these stand out from the information below. Bold, underline. You can right align totals if you want. So it's kind of over those numbers. And I'm just going to click save. So with this here, you'll be able to make updates within your tabs, and they update automatically on the recap sheet. Once you get your sheet settled, you're going to have a lot more divisions than I have. So this one may actually print better portrait than landscape. So take a look into that. And once you get all of your information, again, you're going to go through and highlight it all, set your print area, and then you can change the orientation of your page. So if it's wider than it is tall, do your landscape. If it's taller than it's wide, you can do portrait. And then set this to 1 page by 1 page, so that your summary prints all on 1 page. Yeah, it should fit, especially I think it'll fit well in portrait. Save. So you can see I got 3 here, and you can see how that looks. It fits kind of well width-wise, and you add all the rest of your divisions, it would probably fill the whole rest of the page pretty nicely. You know, you can even give yourself a little more room on the description or something like that so that it fits the margins better. Questions?
Can you just go over one more time the copying the division equations from the other ones over?
Yeah. Yep. So I'll wipe these ones out here. So how you link it, and you can see all my numbers updated when I change that. So in the cell, just push the equals button, go to the sheet that you want to link to, and I'm trying to link my material, so I would select my material total number, enter. Right, labor, same thing, equals labor total, enter. Oop. Equals labor total. Yeah, click it and then push enter. Equals subcontractor total. This one is equipment. Equals equipment. And then this one equals totals.
When you hit enter, does it automatically go back to the recap page?
Yeah. Yep. It automatic. At least in mine, it automatically goes back to the recap page. Fair enough. You know, again, formatting is, you know, you could bold these. You could, maybe you want to underline these, make them stand out. You know, no two of your sheets should look really exactly the same. You know, feel free to customize it, colors, whatever else. If you have a logo from another class with your, you know, if you've had to create templates or things like that, you can put that in here. Make sense?